All right, guys, welcome to another episode of Crypto Casual. I'm your host, Chuck. This is episode 7 on July 12th, 2021. Question of the day is Bitcoin multidimensional, esoterically speaking. We'll get into that here in this episode. But for those who haven't been here, welcome. This is Crypto Casual, where we casually talk about cryptocurrencies, BTC, finance, and we do it with an esoteric twist. Why? Because everything's in my world is just electrical. It's energy. Everything is made up of energy. Our voice that you're hearing over this is energy. Everything in Bitcoin is energy. It's created out of electricity. It's created out of the minds that use a brain that uses electricity. So everything's electrical for me. Even God, the universe, it's electrical. And if you watch the past videos, you see where I get into why I think this is the second coming, financially speaking. And we've gone through reiterations of the financial world throughout history. But in a conscious level, if you go and watch Mark Moss's videos of the 80-year cycles and the 250-year cycles, go to his website, his YouTube channel, and he has a 3-part series, which I highly recommend. An understanding from a bigger picture, so I'm not going to go into it again. We keep it casual here. We don't deep dive, but we do give an overall synopsis of the crypto space. And if there is anything you want more details about, just let me know. But the way I work this channel is we're going to keep it simple, quick, and I'll try to keep them under 15 minutes. The last few I needed to lay a foundation, so they lasted a little longer, but as I get more familiar, they should be between 10 and 15 minutes. So what we have is what we call the format of the day. And so as I did in the beginning, I give an esoteric, insightful question, and we'll talk about that because esoteric just means inside, and exoteric means out. And it's normally associated with secret society, secret information, and so I'm exposing secrets that they don't want you to know, they being the people who want to keep the money for themselves and not share the wealth. I'm not talking everyone. I'm talking that everyone needs to get out here and hustle and earn their own. Don't expect handouts your whole life. We all hit times where we need help from others. That's great, but then ultimately you got to hustle and earn your currency. We'll keep that brief. But anyway, we'll go into the behavioral framework of the day, which is normally associated with NLP or neuro-linguistic programming, or CBT, which is the cognitive behavioral therapy, hypnotherapy, parapsychology. We'll get into all that, but Bitcoin for me is just an esoteric energy that's presenting itself exoterically, and it's up to us to take advantage of that, being that the old system's crumbling, and we'll get into the news of the day right after the definition of the day. So there's a lot of terms floating around the crypto world, so I'm just going to go ahead and give like 1 or 2 word examples, much like today we'll go over what's a cold storage or hard storage wallet. And there's a bunch of other names for it, but we'll go over that real briefly. And then there's going to be a strategy of the day, much like what's the best way to get into cryptocurrency? Where's the best place to go? So these are going to be simple strategies, and we'll get into that as well. We'll get into some what's going on with the pricing of Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. I'll give you my top 3 picks of the day, of which I'm cost averaging into and buying. I'll give you an influence of the day, much like I gave you Mark Moss, but I have another one for you at the end of this. And I'm going to give you a book of the day, because the most important way to learning this new system is to educate yourself. Don't wait for others to educate you. And if they do educate you, it's not your education, it's what they want you to learn. So whatever you want to learn, then it's up to you to go learn it. Pretty simple. But before we get into that, do me a favor and just take a moment and like, subscribe, click the notification bell if you like this, or if you don't like it, just let me know and we can talk about other topics, but it's all going to be casual for the most part. The algorithms like all that clicking and liking, so thanks a lot for doing that. The purpose of the show is, again, to just show you fundamental strategies and educational frameworks on how to grow a simple and rich mind and life. Life for me is simple. I keep it simple. Simple is egoless, and complexity is ego. Just keep it that. Love is simplicity. Hate is complexity. In my world. So I like to keep it simple and casual. So we're going to do a lot of this through understanding who you are esoterically. We're going to understand consciousness, the consciousness of cryptocurrency, the second consciousness of cryptocurrencies or currencies. We're going to understand some philosophies around those. And then I'm going to have a caveat emptor, which means buyer beware. I'm not your financial advisor. I'm just a guy on the internet sharing his thoughts. I'm not your guru. I'm not your spiritual guru. I'm not here to fix your problems. It's up to you to fix your problems. Others cannot fix your problems for you. The ultimate responsibility lies on you to educate yourself, do your own research, deep dive. Again, we keep it casual, but it's up to you to deep dive. If you do want me to deep dive into something, I'll probably just refer you to someone who's already did a deep dive on that, because there's so many great guys and gals out here in the ecosphere of crypto. And one of the philosophies is don't invest more than what you're willing to lose. If you're putting your whole paycheck up and you have bills to pay and your crypto goes down and you panic and you sell, then you're not very logical. Cryptocurrencies is logical. It's not emotional. It's ones and zeros. But it can be fun. So let's get into the esoteric thought of the day. Let's elaborate on that. So for me, the digital ecosphere of cryptocurrencies and BTC is multidimensional and transdimensional thermodynamic energy. Again, we talked a little bit about this. Bitcoin is just energy. There is no physical Bitcoin. It's just energy. It's dynamic. It's always moving. It's energy being exchanged for another energy. And if you want to know more about thermodynamics, look it up. Or if you love thermodynamic, is watch a lot of Michael Saylor's videos as well. He's brilliant. He talks more about thermodynamics. So again, I'm not going to deep dive. I'm not an MIT grad like him, but I am aware of the dynamics of thermo properties. But anywho, so Bitcoin's always moving. It's not static. Even if it's sitting in your wallet, it's not really sitting in your wallet. It's just metadata sitting there until you're ready to access it with codes and seed phrases and stuff, but it's always moving because it's electrical. Electricity is God for me. God is electric. That's how it's omnipresent, omnidirectional, omnipotent, any other word you want to use with omni. But for me, it's also omnidirectional. And Bitcoin can go across the world at its speed of light without anyone stopping it. And we can get into that discussion, but again, let's keep it casual. So if we just simply break down words into their smaller parts to help us understand it, and casually learning is really understanding and getting to the etymology of the word origin of something. And so if we get into the word, when I say multidimensional or transdimensional, dimension, let's just start with the word dimension. Dimension is di, mens, ion. So di meaning two, mens meaning, we'll call it human, and then ions means energy. So it's two men's or woman, two woman's energies moving and transferring. I say woman not to segregate or separate anyone. I'm using electrical terms. We're not talking about penises or vaginas or anything in between. We're just talking about transmitter and receiver. So when I say men's, it's meaning humans, but there's transmitters and receivers. So you just keep it to that perspective for now. It's not about sex. It's about in order to receive something, you have to have receptors. Inside your body, you have synapses. They have receptors and transmitters. So in order to keep things dynamic, they need to move, and so they need to be transmitted and received. So Bitcoin, it basically is just being transmitted and received. So it's dimension, dimensions, ion. So multi-dimensional, meaning it can do multiple things, multiple places at multiple times. And that, to me, is the definition of what my religion, when I was growing up, was teaching, is that God is everywhere, everything. So for me, energy in the newest phase, we went from Buddha to Krishna to Jesus and every other one of these icons. And now for me, it's Bitcoin. I don't worship it. I don't give alms to it. What I do is I purchase it and I hold on to it. And if you want Jesus to save you like a bank account, in a savings account, well, Bitcoin is my savings account. It is my savior in this corrupt financial system ran by a few elites. Nothing against the elites. That's their system. I'm not there to play their system or take them down. I'm just understanding their system the best I can, and then learn how to work throughout, in it, around it, and any other way to get there. So yeah, so just look at Bitcoin as omnidirectional, multidimensional. It's a transmitter, two-way receiver. So just keep it simple, guys. And if you want to know more information, if you want to elaborate that, we can definitely do that. Just give me a comment down below. But basically, Bitcoin is just currency flow. And let's take Bitcoin as being currency. Currency is just an electrical unit, right? Watts, voltage, currency. We can measure the current of how quickly it flows within a period of time. So let's sort of bring that back into the crypto world and what we'll call cash flow. So Bitcoin flow, cash flow, I'm using those words synonymous right now. And part of cash flow, I've always been an entrepreneur, and I always want cash flow. I always want it to reach into my pocket, and there is money. I don't want to wait every Friday or every 2 weeks or every month for my check. I wanted money each and every day because I had things I wanted to create, things I wanted to do, experience, and so forth. So I don't want a paycheck. That's slave mentality, slave money. Nothing wrong or right about it. I just don't want to be a slave. If you want to, by all means do it. And there are ways out of it if you want. And that way is educating yourself. And I'll give you a book of the day at the end to read to help you get out of the slave mentality. So I want cash flow, cash Bitcoin flow. We'll call it Bitcoin flow, which is thermodynamic, which is always moving. I want that flow. I want to be part of the flow. I don't want my life to be stagnant. I want it to always flow. So I want my money to be working. I don't want to work for my money, right? I don't have enough energy in my body to make enough to what it is I want to do or the lifestyle I want to live. Even though I keep it simple, I want flow of money. I want money every single day. I can access new money every day. How does that happen? I get my Bitcoin to keep making more money, and those Bitcoins that make money make more money. And so my parent makes a kid, and that kid makes a kid, and that kid makes a kid, and so forth and so forth. I want generations of Bitcoin. And so I want each one of them out there working. I don't need to work for them. They were working for me, if that makes sense. It sounds a little ego, but it's not. It's just energy. I want energy working for me. I don't want to work for the energy. There is an equal exchange of energy, but that's a different property and a different conversation for another time. So hopefully that's making a little bit of sense. If it's not, leave me a comment, and we can definitely break it down in another video, or I can answer those comments at the start of the next video. So let's sort of get into the behavioral framework, why we think the way we think, what can we do differently. And again, are you working for your money, or is your money working for you? That should be the first question you ask yourself. And most people, they have one source. Their minds are limited to thinking one source. I need to work 40 hours. And if you need extra money, you have to do overtime. You have to spend more of your electrical energy out of your body to exchange this cash flow that's losing 30% every year. And cash is the fiat cash is losing 30%, and I'm being conservative on that with the CPI or Consumer Price Index. That doesn't include gas or food, and we know those prices have quadrupled or gone higher. So anyway, and then is your money, as we talked about, is your money making money? Every dollar I spend, I want at least $7 to $10 back. My dad taught me that, us kids, that when we were little, if you're spending one, get 3 back. Or if you're loaning money, do a 3 to 5 or 5 to 7. If I do 5, I want $7 back. So I was making $2 every time I loaned out $5, if that makes sense. So the strategy is still the same as an adult. You know, I've done this through my entrepreneurship, and this is a behavior that we want to have to look at is, and we'll get into it a little later, but it's tracking what you do to see actually what your spending habits are. Most people don't understand their spending habits, or how much they're actually spending, and we're going to count it down to the penny. So we want our money working for us, not us working for the money. So definitely we're going to, the way I was able to really see what I was spending, because I make a lot, but I also spend a lot, and I wanted to bring that into a more consistent framework. And so part of what I did is I took inventory of everything I was spending, and so I would carry around a little notebook, and every time I spent even a penny or 2 pennies or a nickel or $1 or 100, I wrote it down, what it was for, and then at the end of a week I'd look at it and I would say, which one of these are making me money back? So I began not to spend money on things that didn't bring me anything back. I was just wasting money. Now we got food, we have to have food and stuff like that. Let's not count that for now, but let's video games, nights out at the movie, whatever you're spending money on, is that bringing you money back? Right? Is it putting more energy into your system or withdrawing it from your energy system? And so for me, I was able to take a quick look at everything and go, wow, this isn't bringing me anything. This isn't bringing, it can bring me fun and satisfaction, and that's important. But when I'm looking at my financial portfolio, I needed something that says, hey, where can I take money that I'm spending now and reinvest it into something that's going to bring me 3, 5, 10% of my money that will yield me back that amount. And as I began to change that framework, I was able to see and have more money. So then I was able to start cost averaging in, or at an early age, of gold, silver, and now in the last 7, 8 years, or I think 6 years, I studied it. In the last 4 years, I've been into it, and so I was able to take that money and put it now in gold, silver, and now Bitcoin and real estate and a whole bunch of other things that have value, that go up in value. And so if I'm going to spend money on a watch, is it a watch that's going to eventually go up, like a Rolex or something to that mind frame? So definitely look at where you're spending your money, and then be able to make decisions, and then make a sacrifice, if that's what you want to call it, but not to go to the movies, but go ahead and put that $20 with popcorn and everything, and put that $20 into silver. So hopefully that makes sense. All right, your crypto definitions. We talked earlier a little bit about hard wallets and cold storage. They're both the same thing, technically speaking. And I use Ledger Nano, so a lot of people don't like them because they're small, but they are coming out with more and more wallets. Basically, it's taking your Bitcoin or your cryptocurrencies off the live dynamics internet, and taking off and putting in cold storage, if you will. So a cold storage is just what I'm using, Ledger Nanos, are just disk drive, or they look like jump drives. And these jump drives are air gapped, which means there's a code that you put in, but then there's a gap that has to be filled with electricity. And then if you can get the electricity, when we plug it into our computer, it creates a gap. And then that gap can then, with our seed phrase and passcodes, we can get into it. But if you don't have that, you got 3 tries on a Ledger Nano. If not, it wipes it clean. And if you destroy it, or if it gets destroyed, all you have to do is buy another one, reprogram it, put your seed phrase in, and there's your crypto. So a hard wallet is just where you keep your cryptocurrencies offline and no one can get into it. And then cold storage is just, it's the same thing. All right, so hopefully that helped. News of the day, I don't know if y'all saw it. I think it happened a couple of days ago, but it was on the main news that Wells Fargo is stopping all loans. The majority of their loans was between, I think, $3,000 and $300,000 or something like that. Anyway, they're stopping it. So even if they're closing all loan accounts. So if you have a loan account with them, and if they close your account, that can actually have a negative effect on your credit rating. So keep an eye on that. If you're Wells Fargo and you have a loan with them, be it a car loan or something, a house loan, just watch that. And if it does, you can go and insert that, hey, Wells Fargo closed this account. That was their choice. But the last time Wells Fargo did this, and this is the important thing, is in 2008. They stopped all loans again. And then the crash happened. So I'm not saying that the crash will happen or when it will happen, but it will happen. And so when I'm already seeing this, it's a tumble effect. And so other banks are going to start having more and more trouble because they're overextended. And then their margins got to be called in. And so this is just the same thing that happened in 2008. So it's happening again because they didn't let it go through full circle. They bailed everyone out, and this time they bailed more out. So it's just this crash will be harder than the last crash. So strategy of the day, we talked about it. Keep studying. For your homework, I'm giving you homework. If you're new, is study CoinGecko and CoinMarketCap. These are these sites that you can get on, and later on I'm going to have tutorials where I can do this, but there are other sites and other people who do have tutorials of how to use those sites. But it basically gives you a one-stop shop to all the cryptocurrencies that are out there, what their market capitalization is, where they rank, how much is being traded per volume. Every 24 hours. It gives you access to everything, their sites. So they're really good to start understanding and learning about what these cryptocurrencies are, you can deep dive through those two sites, CoinGecko and CoinMarketCap. I prefer CoinGecko because CoinMarketCap, a lot of sites will inflate the volume to get you to go buy their cryptocurrencies, and CoinMarketCap for me, they do a lot of inflating. CoinGecko for me is more accurate. So I stick with CoinGecko, but sometimes coins that are on CoinGecko aren't on CoinMarketCap, and those that are on CoinMarketCap are not always on CoinGecko. So I use both, but primarily CoinGecko. So as always, cost averaging. That means if you are getting a paycheck, and you can look at what you're spending, and you say, hey, I got an extra 20, cost average that into whatever it is, gold, silver, Bitcoin, whatever that's what you think is going to help you out in the future when everything else crashes, that you got some assets that you can liquidate if you need to, or that will go up in value. So early on, I was flipping low caps or capitalizations, those that were really low, and when they would go 50% or higher, then I would sell that. And then of that 50% profit that I would take, I would then put 50% of that into Bitcoin, 40% into the higher caps like Cardano, Polkadot, Link, the higher capitalization. That'd be like the first 20 coins on CoinMarketCap or CoinGecko. And then the 30% is I would take the remaining of that 50%, and then I would put that into mid caps, some new projects that I see up and coming. And then I would leave the rest of that 50% in the coin that I was in already, that low cap. So I'm always flipping and bringing it up, just like I did. We flipped cars when we were younger. We flipped a lot of things, and then when you just keep putting that money and keep flipping houses, cars, whatever. It's the same strategy. And if you want to know more about flipping, we can definitely talk about that. Basically, the Bitcoin prices and all the prices of the whole crypto sphere is basically going sideways for the month of July so far. Bitcoin is between 30,000 and 35,000, and it just keeps going up and down in between that. So if you're a leverager, and I don't recommend that for beginners, you have to do your homework before you even put anything into that. But if you want to, you can, when it goes down to 30, 31, then you can put a buy in, and if it goes up, you can sell it right before 35, and then if it goes up and down, so you can definitely you can do some scalping on that. I mean, scalping is just taking really quick profits instead of leaving it open, your long or short for a period of time. My picks of the day, my crypto picks of the day is Solana. Uniswap and Chainlink. I'm going to let y'all deep dive because this video is already a little bit longer, but look up those three coins, Solana, Uniswap, and Chainlink. Each one of those projects are good, and if you want to know a little bit more about them, again, there's plenty of information out there. I just want to bring some of this to your attention in a casual setting. My influencer of the day is George Gammon. He's an interesting character. He likes to flip stuff. His mindset, my mindset seems to be similar. He also understands the big pictures of finance and globalization of finance. And he does a whiteboard, and he's really funny, and he has a really good presentation. He also has some casual stuff where he sits down and just talks about a topic. But he does the whiteboard, watches whiteboards, and he does it 3 easy steps of understanding something. So he's an interesting influencer, and I like his style, so I recommend him for the week. And then finally, the book of the day is going to be The Millionaire Mind by Thomas J. Stanley. I read that book in my I think I was 20 or something. I can't remember when I read it, but it's been out a while. But it just gives you the mindset of millionaires, and that a lot of them, first generation millionaires are those who made it in this generation. They weren't handed it to it. So the book just basically goes into the spending habits of people who look like they're millionaires and buying the fanciest cars, the best suits, and those who aren't buying the fancy car, they hold on to the car for years, or the same truck for 15, 20 years, and just keep repairing it. And they look at the end of the day, who's got the most liquid assets. And so the book really deep dives into that. So I recommend that book for everyone, part of your financial education. So basically, this is going to wrap up this video. I know it's a little long, and I'm trying to shorten them up, and we will once I get a little more format. Y'all let me know what you like about it, what don't you like about it, and definitely we can cut some of this out. Or if you like them longer, I'll keep them longer. But that wraps up this episode of Crypto Casual, and remember, just to keep life casual. Thanks, guys.